Today I have a very special guest with us, Danny, co-founder of Let The Meat. Let The Meat in Adelaide is a pretty awesome brand. They do a lot of vegetarian options. It's all about food, isn't it, Danny?
It's all about food.
All about food. And they're very successful. They've been around for 8 years in business, and Danny's here to talk about some of the journey along the way and how that's evolved and what's sort of created the success of Let The Meat. So I hand it over to you. Tell us a bit about it and how you got started.
We started 8 years ago wanting to really have a better work-life balance and do the things that we love to do, which was eat and cook. So I don't even know what to say.
That's all right. So you had started out wholesale,
Yes.
and that sort of developed over the years. So when did you kind of begin? You've got a cafe in the arcade.
We do. We have a cafe in the Central Market arcade.
So how long did it take you to get to that point where you went from wholesale to cafe?
It took 5 years of making a lot of mistakes. So we started doing wholesale and realised that we were working a lot for not a lot of money, and thought, how are we going to move on from this point? So part of that was going, these other people are buying a lot of our food and more people want our food and they're selling our food. So why don't we make the money selling it ourselves? That prompted us to get our first cafe in Croydon and do a lot more events and a lot more markets and a lot more direct selling until the point that we decided not to do wholesale at all anymore. And then we got our shop in the Central Market, which happened just after that, and that was really another big growth point. So there was a number of growth points, but definitely moving from cutting out wholesale was actually the best thing we did. One of the scariest things we did, losing that constant income, but the best thing we did, because I found that, and this has happened every time, when you break off the old, the new comes.
That's so interesting. And we talk to a lot of business owners who share that philosophy that if you feel that you're working really hard and you're not making enough money, but you know your name's getting out there, you've got good product.
Yes.
At what point do you go, I have to kind of invest in the change direction? So you did that and it paid off, right?
It paid off. It really paid off. But it was hard. I don't regret any of the things we did. It got us started. It did get our name out there. Mostly, maybe not so much our name, and that's one thing we were frightened of. Doing wholesale, they all claim it for themselves. But people recognise the
Everyone's
food.
taking your credit.
Yeah.
These amazing foods coming in, and it's like, where's this? Oh, okay.
Going to the farmers market and selling our food directly to people, which is where we started our first direct sales, and them saying, oh, you buy your food from the same place as blah. No, we make this food, and them not believing you. And one woman went, sure, rolled her eyes and walked away from us. So
Yeah. Well, things are very different now, Let The Meat. So you've got a lot of loyal customers. I see that you guys have big success. It's like social media, you've got a good following. You've got over 5,000 Facebook fans, and over 100 really positive reviews.
Yes.
What's kind of contributed to that success, do you think?
Consistency. I probably didn't do a lot on it for the first few years, and then really started consistently posting what we were doing, and then growing from there and posting well. So learning what we had good, what had good reactions, what was getting us more likes, and then trying to promote that.
Okay, so if you have advice for anyone else in business out there on what kind of content, like you're saying consistency is good,
yes.
What other things do you think they should focus on that works well in your perspective and how it's worked for your business?
I think it has to be quality and it has to be pretty.
Instagram as well, right?
Yes.
Instagram's
amazing and it links to Facebook, which I love, and it makes photos pretty quickly. People love eating, they love food, so getting that relating posts is really big.
Danny's in a good business, good food.
But yeah, the pictures have to be good. The content has to be good. Mostly the picture. Yeah.
Right before we did this video, we were having a little chat and talking about, it's interesting, I love entrepreneurship, I love Danny and her partner for the work that they put into this brand, and we talk a lot about consistency and quality product, and it makes all your marketing so easy, doesn't it, when you've got good foundation and you work incredibly hard. I would like you to share a story that we just mentioned about some funny things and the working that's involved in building your business. Tell us a funny story.
I think you want the first WOMAD story.
Yeah,
So we're talking about,
Yeah.
which is a terrible story because it makes us sound a little bit disorganised and bad, but it was the first one.
Let's be honest, like that's how you start out in business, right? You're just going out there and you're testing and you're like,
It
okay,
is.
let's see how this goes.
It
So
is.
yeah, we'd love it.
We did our first WOMAD. We thought we would do well. It's a world music festival. We sell vegetarian food. We sell amazing food, and we thought that would be popular. We got really organised. Tanya and I decided to work it because we thought we're the A team. We asked her parents to help us. We didn't think they'd work that hard, but we thought when we're busy, they can step up and do stuff. But the rest of the time, they had their deck chairs and their snacks and some coffee.
It's going to be a cruisy day, right?
Cruisy day.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got slammed. Massive lineups. Every skerrick of food that we had.
Over 50 people lined
50
up.
people lined up
Yeah.
at dinner time.
Yeah.
The food that we'd cooked and kind of what we'd planned for the entire weekend was going down very rapidly. But poor Tanya's dad was quite unwell. He was going through cancer treatment. It was well enough to work, but he was there with this 10-litre bucket of salad, just dishing it out crazily, trying to help us. And about 7 o'clock, the alarm goes off because he's got to take his medication with food at 7 o'clock. And there's Tanya's mum suddenly having a meltdown with all of these people that wanted to get fed going, he needs to take his medication and needs to eat. And Tanya just quickly making a falafel wrap, throwing it at him, saying, eat while you work.
Keep going.
Keep going. And he did. As she said, it's payback. She worked in their fish and chip shop, and so did her brothers and sisters as a teenager. But they worked hard. They didn't have to come back the next day, which they were meant to.
Yes.
But
my God, this really does, and I love this story because it shows where you kind of started, and how much work is really required. And 8 years on, now you're kind of, you're making good money. You've got a great loyal customer base. People know the brand. They love your food and the quality and the consistency. And how many staff have you got now?
17.
17 staff, so you've grown, but it's not been an overnight success.
No.
Right? And I remember when I first came across the meat and we had lunch there, I was like, oh, this is a great new place, not realising it's been 8 years, right? 8 years, but people kind of take that impression that things happen quick. So that's why I wanted you to share that story, I think. And to hear that, 10 years, Dad was, he had cancer treatment and he's there helping out. It's like this all-in effort.
It is.
And crazy. And even Tanya being pregnant and trying to cook out the back.
Oh, I didn't say about that. Yeah, 38 weeks pregnant, over a stove, frying things with the poor baby's head. So 2 inches away from a gas flame, and me saying, you've got to get out of the kitchen. That poor baby's going to come out sunburnt.
This is the kind of effort required, right? But it's just interesting. So you've done all of this stuff. You've developed. Talk a bit about your product and how you've tested things. You've done things in wholesale, like you said.
We did. We started with wholesale.
You've kind of gone through different areas in sales, and how's that process worked for you? What have you sort of taken from that?
There's a lot of trial and error. There's giving it a go and then trying again. There's many things we've made that haven't worked, and lots of things that don't even get past development. I think that's the hardest things that you put a lot of effort into, particularly new menus that never get chosen, or new food items that I've probably tasted this one recipe 20 times and we have never released it to the public. 20 times over probably 2 years, and it's not right.
Wow.
But there's no point in doing something and not putting it out if it's not right.
Yeah. Okay, that's it. That's really interesting. So, sort of perfecting your product along the line and making sure the quality's of super high standard to what you think will work out there. And has anything surprised you in business?
Everything surprises me in business. I think the point that you suddenly realise that you're making money surprised me in business. This was a long time I didn't feel like we were.
Are you like, it would never happen?
It would never happen. We'd never get where we were. Or when I got semi-celebrity status. We went out to a friend's birthday. We were there and got introduced. These are, the girls from Let Them Eat. And this woman had a fangirl moment. Oh,
You're like, I made it.
I made it. Somebody knows who I am and they're excited to meet me.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, sort of wrap up. Is there anything like, with marketing and how you've, built this brand that you would sort of advice that you would pass on to other business owners and how to stick in there and sort of make it successful? What would be your advice?
Consistency is key. Consistent, high quality, and it's not going to happen overnight. It didn't happen overnight for us. It took a long time of hard work and keeping it up there. But when you get to that point, it's amazing.
Oh, brilliant. Brilliant. Oh, thank you,
Thank
Danny.
you.
I
You're
really
welcome.
appreciate you coming in. And thank you, guys. I hope that's really helped with understanding the food industry, the food business, and how an entrepreneur can make it over, 8 years and what it sort of took to get there. So if you have any questions, we'd love some feedback in the comments on this interview. Thanks, guys.